Pokemon Galaxy, the furry face YouTuber, and yes, it's not the one you probably wanted, it's the one with the homeless beard, but never mind, stick around. Today's video, we'll be putting some cards away that we've pulled over the last so many videos into the binders, and I'm going to show you, give you an insight into how I collect cards and how I think you should collect cards in 2026. If you start a collection, this is the video for you. Maybe if you're sick and tired of chasing sets, trying to build binders, but can never complete them because you can't get the product. Maybe you want to rethink about the way you collect cards. Stick around. We'll get into it. When I got into Pokemon cards about 4 or 5 years ago, Sword and Shield era, there was quite a lot of sets around that obviously were coming out, that had been out. I got into it and it seemed very overwhelming how often they're releasing them. Didn't know which set to start collecting, what sets I was interested in. I was 90s WOTC guy when I was a child. Came across my old collection because the kids came up with some Pokemon booster packs, and it just got me sucked back in. So got out found my old cards, had a look at that, and it was like, where do I start? Everything's so overwhelming. And the missus said, why don't we do a Pokédex collection? So that's what we started off with. I was trying to finish off my WOTC cards. So I was doing that. But she wanted to collect cards. And she said she could do a Pokédex. I said, what a great idea. So what we did is we initially bought, I think it was about 2,000 cards. Bulk purchase off eBay. And we sorted it all out from number 1 to whatever it was at the time, and we did the binders, and we filled majority of the Pokédexes off that one bulk lot. And then what we did was, it didn't matter what cards we put in at first, but then we wanted to turn every card into a holo or a reverse holo, and we started trying to turn them cards as well into older vintage cards. Because some of the money ones are great, but the other arts just seem the same, very generic. So the vintage cards just seemed a bit more appealing. We both preferred the vintage cards. So that's what we did. And then what it does is it creates a really unique looking binder. Yeah, you can pick out your arts, and I'll move on to that point in a minute as well. But you can pick the art you want, put it in, jobs are good, and it's personalised to you. There's no having to chase sets, trying to master sets, but you can't get the product, so you just feel like you're wasting your time sometimes. So let's have a look at the binder. So we start off, right, so here's binder number 1. So as you can see, over time, we gained a really unique looking folder. Still has modern cards in here. We've tried to turn them all holo or reverse holo. Obviously there will be some cards in here that we haven't managed to get in holo, or that we've just missed. But for the most part, they're all holo. As you can see, like I say, so it's really unique and personalised to arts you like as well. And for me, this is just, it's the way forward, especially in 2026 when you can't get the products. This is the way to collect Pokemon cards, in my opinion. There's some really nice cards, and you can really appreciate the effort that's gone into it. So now I'm not going to go through it one by one. I'm just going to flick through it now, because I probably will do a video on Pokemon card collecting and the way to collect it. But like I say, this is just putting cards away. Unfortunately, I've only got one card to put away in the last folder. There we go. Do you know what I mean? That's folder number 1. You can see, you get the idea. That is the way I will collect cards, yeah, in 2026. Now here's folder number 2. You will find that the further down the gens you go, the cards will become more modern, for obvious reasons of when the set was released. So just bear that in mind, that you're not going to turn all Pokemon cards into a vintage. You can turn them into older versions of that card, but there is a point in time, especially in the latter couple of gens, that they're going to be modern cards regardless, and that's just something that you've just got to accept. I won't go through it all day, but you can see there's you get some really nice cards, and it's, you know what I mean. It's not in the greatest condition, and sometimes that doesn't fully bother me because some cards you're never going to get in tip-top condition. Do you know what I mean? It's by no means, yeah, mint, yeah, it's played, but it's not an awful condition for a played card. Yeah, granted, it's not going to be worth the value it should be, but I'm not too fussed. I like the cards, but that's the idea, and it becomes really personalised. So that's that one, and I think it's a more fun way, so less pressure to collect your cards. So here comes the last folder, and again, it's starting to become more modern more often. This is basically more modern cards in this folder as you get further down. Now, the one card we've got to put away is Terrapagus. 1024, and that goes here. There we go. So I've still got a few spots missing because remembering what cards we need is sometimes a hard task. And every now and then, the missus shall make an itinerary of what we need in hollows, reverse hollows. Now that's my main way of how I collect Pokemon cards in a Pokédex format. Now, you might be thinking, what do I do if I get a card of a particular mon of an art that I really like, but it's already in the Pokédex? Well, this is where the arts folder system comes into play. So let's take a look at that. Now, in the arts folders, I've got two kinds. I've got random arts, and then I've got feature mons. Now, as cards go into the random arts, and you realise that you end up with like 9+ touches like I have, it becomes a feature mon, and this is my feature mon binder. Yeah. So here we go. Like I say, Taurus. Just I don't think about Taurus and some cards, and what I then do is, even if I'm not too keen on the art, because it's now a feature mon, I'll collect the cards regardless. Now, as I previously said, I'm not gonna go through it all one by one because we'll be here forever, and it'll be a super long video, and I don't want to bore you to death. But now we've come to one of the cards I want to put away. If you watched the video of me sitting here, I think it was in the mini tins, I pulled this. Super delighted with this card, and now we're at where it belongs. Now, I actually wasn't really interested in Dragonite as a mon on its own, but I came across a few nice Dratini cards that I quite liked, especially this rainbow one, and then I just ended up collecting the Dragonites because there's a couple of cards I like this Dragonite here, this old school full art one. I think it's really nice card. Let's have a closer look at that. It's really like that card. I thought it was really cool. And both of them two. Do you know what I mean? I just really like them, but I wasn't collecting every Dragonite card. The great thing about this is you can just start collecting them at any one point. So now every Dragonite, every Dratini will be kept. Now, quite an unusual mon for probably to some, but Rattata ended up being a feature mon, and therefore Raticate becomes a feature mon. So this Raticate that I pulled goes in here as well. Like I say, I've got many feature mons, some random, some not random. This becomes, like I say, all the cards that can't go into your Pokédex becomes into your arts, which I then turn into feature mons as I get more of them. And who doesn't love Snorlax? You pick your favourites, or you pick the cards you like, and over time they just become a feature mon. Now, one card I do like is I do like a Kangaskhan. So we've got this one, the promo from the Mega Kangaskhan, from the Mega Kangaskhan box, and we stick that in here with me with Kangis. I just love a Kangi. Now here comes Psyduck. Everybody's going to love a Psyduck. He's going to be one of the fan favourites. I think there's some really cool arts. Let's get a closer look at this. You know what I mean? The Psyduck doing all sorts. Funny one. Quite a character. And then obviously in turn, we've got to collect the Golducks. I like to keep the evolution lines if possible, even if I'm not a major fan of it. So let's get my Psyduck, because I managed to pull again. I was super elated when I pulled this bad boy. So this will go nicely on this page here. There we go. Look at that. And over time as well, your collection becomes quite a valuable piece of kit. Yeah, it's a natural growing investment. It's why it really winds me up when people are just going on about sealed products, investing in sealed products and all that jazz, and it's like, well, just collecting cards and enjoying collecting cards is a natural investment anyway. Over time, it will grow and it will become worth a nice little penny. Now here we go. The Meganium from the Zen Heroes EX box. Nice little slot here for it. There we go. That can also be an issue. Somebody's got to leave slots, because otherwise you find yourself adding multiple pages and rearranging. There we go. I'm pretty sure I've got a Venusaur to put in. I have. Here we go. Just having a look at that. Just a Mega Evolutions Venusaur. And like I say, you end up with a nice variety of modern cards, vintage cards, and it looks really good. Now, you're probably thinking, Weedle. Who wants to collect Weedle cards? Well, this is my eldest boy, but at the time he was only 4. He's had a thing for Weedle, so I give him a Weedle page, and we just started collecting Weedles and Beedles and Kakunas. And that's the beauty of collecting Pokemon cards, is you can collect them in any single way. From art you like to Mons you like, and it's just happy days, isn't it? Happy days. Now I've recently only started collecting the Gastlies and Haunter's. I had a few Gengars that I liked, and over time I had a few more, so then I had to go back and try and find all the Gastlies, but unfortunately I've got rid of a lot. So now I'm recollecting them, and that's another big thing, is you can just recollect them of ones you've got rid of or decided that you weren't keeping at the time. So now we've got that in there. Just keeps growing, getting bigger and bigger. And it's the beauty. Cubone, I love a Cubone. You don't love a Cubone. Cute. Wait a minute, I've done total down. I've got to put the Feraligatr in. Right, so let's go back. Where's the little shithead gone? Here we go, Feraligatr. From the EX box. Some of these are really annoying because they're not double-sided. It's just a nightmare, as I said, to go redo them all. Now I've just got a couple of Charizards. So I'm not going to go through every single one. Skip straight to the fire area. Here we go, the fire area. Where's my Charmander at? See, Mrs. loves the Vulpix and the Ninetales, so we've got quite a few of them, like I say. Look at them. Some of the arts, I just think, it's all fantastic. And she likes a Ponyta, and then before Rapidash comes into it, we've got quite a lot of cards, and you realise that just out of nowhere, you end up with a really interesting collection. Here we go. Went way past it. So here we go. Got 2 slots here. Got Charizard X and Charizard Y. From the promo tins I did in my first video. If you've not watched it, go check it out. That'll just start my journey. So that's that for the feature ones. Oh, let's have a look at the Eevee collection. Everybody loves an Eevee. I mean, I love an Houndoom. I've got a few Houndooms. Just look at all these Eevees. I think they're just such pretty cards, and they make a great addition to any collection. And it's a good way, like I say, of collecting these. I mean, you would move on to your Jolteons. Flareons. And as I said, you look back and you think, wow, this is worth a pretty penny. And it's just been a gradual, fun way of collecting cards, in my opinion. And I'd say some of these cards I've checked out here and there, and they've gone up 4 or 5 times since I've bought them. And not that I'm bothered about the money and the financial sense, but it's nice to know you have got something grown and enjoyed, and that it's not just random bits of cardboard, and that if needed you can sell them if you were really hard up. I mean, which I have done. I had quite a lot of Expedition and stuff, and Aquapolis and Skyridge, and I had to sell them, and I just needed the cash. Now, I can't which video it is, but one of the videos I told you about that I love a knitted Pokemon, and here we begin my little knitted Pokemon collection. Just every so often a set just appears with a knitted Pokemon, and I bloody love them. So that's my feature folder, and I think it's a really fun way to collect some of your favourite mons. And as I said, cards from my random arts, which we're going to get into shortly, they move into a feature folder once maybe get to around 6, maybe 7 of that mon, and then I'll include its evolutionary lines into the feature binder. They'll get a feature page, and I'll collect them cards regardless of whether I like the art or not. And I think it just creates like a really unique page, and you get to see like the history of that particular mon, which is fantastic. So now we move on to the random arts binder. Now I've got quite a few cards to put away in the random arts binder. I say it's literally random. Now I do think there's a few cards in here that probably, if I round it up, will create a feature mon, but I've not got around to doing it yet. Now in here there isn't any like special cards like EXs, illustration rares. That's another little side rule that me and the missus came up with and agreed. Well, I said previously, I'm not going to go through every single page. I've got one normal to put away, because they are done in type order, unless I've messed it up. It's one of the missus's rules. There's a gap here. He's slack off. He's slowly growing. 4 cards there. And we've got a Slaking. So a couple more cards, and that will be getting a feature page. What we've got now? I've got a couple of darks here. Let's have a look. What do we come to next? Like I say, just so many. Like I say, there's quite a lot of them. There's some cards you're probably thinking, oh, why have you kept that one? You know, like I say, just really like the artwork. Anything you find interesting. Do you know what I mean? Even some of the ones I just think are just freaking cute. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look like a Togepi. It's not an amazing artwork. It's not an amazing mon, but look how cute. How can you not stick that in your collection? Yeah. Obviously, what we're getting any more fairies, because obviously they start doing the fairies. Right, here we're on the darks. Let's see what we've got. Let's find a space in darks. Right, here we go. We've got a dark page here. And we've got this Weavile. I think that was from Mega Evolutions, I think, or Phantasmal Flames Ballista. And I got a Shroodle. Look at that. Look how cute that is. How can you say no to that? So that goes in here as well. There we go. I say nothing. Not all the cards are super fantastic and amazing. It's just the way it is. There we go. On Dragon page, because I quite like this Eternatus artwork. So we stick that here in with the dragons. And I definitely think that this is the way forward. I mean, some of you might disagree, especially when you can't get all the product in this day and age with all the scalpers and resellers, investors hogging up all the inventory. How are you meant to get cards? So buying bulk lots off places like eBay, buying the odd booster pack when you can get hold of it at retail price, is just is just the way forward, in my opinion. It takes a lot of the pressure off, a lot of the costs. I mean, you can get some great deals on places like eBay, and even like Vinted and stuff of second-hand cards. Here we go. We kept this ground on quite like this from Ascending Heroes. Go there. It just becomes, like I say, very expensive. It puts a lot of pressure on, and you don't need it. Pokemon cards are meant to be enjoyable. So yeah, I think it's some great deals. I mean, granted, there's been a lot more hype and interest. So some of the card lots on places like eBay do go for a lot more money than they used to. But you can still pick up some great deals, and it'll cost you a lot less than buying booster pack after booster pack, sealed product after sealed product. So that's the Random Arts folder. Like I say, just random. Now, they only have the non-holos, the holos, and the reverse holos. Any special cards like illustration rares, EXs, Vs, VMAXs, whatever, yeah, they go into a different folder of effectively special arts, if it's like. And that binder also has like trainer cards, energy cards, and yeah, let's take a look at that. So here we go. Now, literally only got the one card, and just came across it in a bulk lot of Pokemon cards I bought. Is Shining Genesect. So this has become the Shining page, but like I say, it's the only one I think we've got, unless they're in the Pokédex. Here we go. We've got the little Radiant collection, Alolan. The Alolan forms. Got the Galarian forms. And then we just hit we got the Hisuian. Then we hit the random EXs that we kept. And obviously, we got the Palladians as well. Not many of them. But yeah, the random EXs. So let's find some stock for the EXs I've got to put away. Didn't realise I already had that one. So it just shows that I liked it twice. Right, have we got any frigging slots? Right, here we go. Just stick some here. So I have got the Mega Launcher. Not a crazy fan of this card. I mean, it is very colourful and it is a pretty card. You can't really see them on, but for now, yeah, as a temporary measure, I am putting it in my collection. But it could be one that I end up just selling in a bulk lot. Now, I've also got to go in here. I've got Miss Maggie, so it's quite liked it. You can see a bit of them on, because I say these boxy artworks, you don't often see them on really, and you see a bit more of them on. I find it quite an interesting bit of art. That quite like that one. Now I pulled this on my last video, and I've got to say I think it's such a pretty card. I see quite a lot of Clefairy, and I just, yeah, I was really happy with that pull for a basic card that isn't worth a lot of money. Yeah, and I could have just bought it technically, but pulling that I was really happy with. I think it's such a nice card. That's what I find these days is quite a lot of people don't actually appreciate some of the cards because of the low value. They just want to go for the big guns, and it's not always very like I say. I pulled this Mega Skarmory EX, and I just quite liked it. I just think the colours are not too in your face like some of them, like the Mega Attack Rare Launcher. It's very in your face, and I just think that this one you get to see someone more than one, and it's not too in your face. And I just quite liked it. I find it quite an interesting card, so I kept the Skarmory. Right, well, luckily I've got a sleeve here. Now, this is the Mega Embo from the EX. Unfortunately, poor Embo and Tepig, I haven't got a feature page as of yet. Now, I've got Mega Starmie EX. Now, Staryu's starting to get heading towards the feature page, but right now it hasn't. So, got the Gardevoir EX again. That was quite a cool looking card. Like I say, I'm not a major fan of the box arts, but I thought that was kind of cool. So that's it, goes into the collection. What else have I got? Mega Lopunny EX, kind of like that. Again, like I say, you can see a bit more of the money. Even though it's an awkward angle, I quite liked it. But again, it's not a super fan favourite of mine. But stay for now, and I can always get rid of it later down the line. Because you don't have to just get rid of them for the sake of it. You have to keep it for the sake of it. Yeah, as time goes on, you can chop and change your mind, and you're not ruining an actual set. Got some spaces here. Trevenant. That can go up here nicely. Your belly bot company. And I really like this houndstone that I pulled for Mega Evolutions. So that's a that can go into the binder. And then the last one, Palladium Wooper. We'll stick that up here. So you end up with a really unique folder. What else have I got in here? I've got a couple more cards to put away. Right, trainers. I came across a few trainers. Yeah, just normal cards. I just thought they were kind of cool. I do like some of them. I just think, especially some of the vintage ones, I just think the way the art's done, and the way the card looks, and they're not too in your face, and you can really appreciate the cards. Like I'm saying, so some of them are really cool. Right, where am I? I've got to. I tell you what, I don't know. I haven't really got an actual slot for this, but I pulled this card in my last video. I just think it's a really cool looking card. Never not really a fan of these sort of cards, but I thought this is done really well. Looks quite cool, so I'm going. But I'm going to have to stick that here for now. I've not actually got a section for Pokeballs. Now, Mrs. loves an energy, so that's why we've got an energy little collection going on here. Yeah. Why is that big in there? Well, that doesn't belong there. Pull out that there, and we've got Mega Evolutions Dark Energy, which we haven't got one of yet. So that can go in there. That's that job done. I've got a Psychic. Have I got a Psychic? I have got a Psychic. Here we go. One of the hollows, new hollows. So got that here. There we go. Psychic. That's that slot filled. Obviously, going to be no fairies. I haven't got many fairies. Steel's quite a lot of steel. There you go. This is where you belong. Well, I say belong. She'll probably go mad at me because it's not in age order. She likes to try and keep them in age orders, but I come along and I stick him anywhere, and she tells me off. But that's another story. Right. So I've got an electric. Let's stick in the electric there. Normal electric. Fire. Water. I've got a water. Again, Mega Evolutions Energy. I've not got any of them, kept any of them yet, so there we go. And then we move on to grass. And I've got the new hollow energies. Kind of have a bit of a bum deal when you're getting energies as hollows, but never mind. So there we go. So that's those added. Right, fighting. Where's the fighting? Have I missed the fighting? Right, so fighting energy. And then the fighting energy there. So, like I say, it doesn't have to be just Pokemon that you collect the fighting energies in. I'm going to get another sleeve for that. I didn't actually realise I'd messed that up. And then at the back of here, just a few Japanese WOTCs. A couple of moderns. They're nothing fantastic, but just came across and decided to keep them for the hell of it. I mean, I was originally only keeping Japanese Neos because I don't collect the English version of Neo cards. So that's how I collect Pokemon cards. Like I say, I think it's just a great no pressure system. You don't have to focus on chasing one particular set. You can just buy a few packs here, a few packs there of whatever set takes your interest. You can buy lots of cards of eBays, garage sales, car boots, wherever you can find them. Yeah, and you can add them in to your collection. It's a no pressure system. You're not governed by sets and trying to get master sets and focus on numbers. And it's meant to be fun. And in today's market, it's just a nightmare getting product. And I think this is the best way, if not the only way, you should be collecting cards in 2026. But I've done this since I started 4 or 5 years ago. Now, before you go, there is one more folder we've got to do. I say a collection's not a collection if you've not got a collection of Pikachus. But obviously we start with Pichu. Now, these should be in age order. Yes, we've got Pichu, then we've got Pikachu. Going throughout the years. And you can get to have a real appreciate of how Pikachu's evolved, the different artworks. Like I say, I'm missing quite a few from what I gather. I don't think I'm missing that many from the spaces, but obviously a lot of the promo, because Pikachu's often a promo. So, yeah, it's just a great way. So we get to modern day. So we've got this one to put in, which can go here. And with this Pikachu 30th anniversary. And that goes in this little gap that I just left there. So that's the Pikachus. Now I've got a Raichu to put away. So of course, moving on from here, we hit Raichu. Now, because of my vintage collection, I don't actually collect separate fossil, separate jungle, separate base. I just made a 151 collection of them. Some of the cards I'm stuff behind, but Raichu, in the Raichu folder, I decided to move the fossil over to here and just leave the base set in my vintage folder. And you say you get to see Raichu. And not all the cards are great. This one here is battered, but I needed it. But yeah, so it goes and it's chewed up. I'll get that replaced at some point. But yeah, so you get to look at Raichu and how Raichu's evolved. So here we go. Ascended Heroes, Reverse Holo Raichu. Well, there's probably a few I'm missing, so I'm just going to stick them there because I'm pretty sure there's a couple of ones I've not got that go in this gap. So that's that, and then we go a little bit forward to towards the back. I've got the Juju, which I do really like. And a couple of random japs. Like I say, you've got to have a Pikachu collection. Do you know what I mean? Look at that. Everybody loves a Pika. And like I say, do you know what I mean? This fat Pikachu there. He's really fat there, doesn't he? Like I say, over time it becomes a collection that you really enjoy, appreciate, and it's grown in value over time. I didn't buy these cards in one hit. I didn't go crazy. So that's some of my collection, or at least the folders that were needed to put the cards away. The way I think people should collect cards in 2026. I've been doing this since I got back into it 4 or 5 years ago, and you end up with a really unique collection. Because how many master sets of any set are going to be out there? The value of them are never strong. Most of the cards in it, you spent hundreds, if not thousands, on getting. It's worth a fraction of what you've paid. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I will be doing a more in-depth video in the future on collecting Pokemon cards. I'm going into a bit more detail on how I started and how I went about it. But just thought I'd give you a little insight, while we're putting some cards away, to how I collect Pokemon cards. Now, don't worry, next time I'm putting cards away won't be quite so tedious. But like I say, anybody who's new to collecting Pokemon cards, thinking of getting into Pokemon cards, or just thinking of changing up the way they're collecting, I felt like this was the better way to go about it. Just give a bit of an insight while we stick some cards away. If you like the video, hit the buttons. Catch you next time. Thanks for watching.